This is something the luxury brands don't want you to know. Very, very, very few make the fragrance from scratch. The royal family once asked that who's made this perfume?
Wow.
Men, women, unisex fragrances, yes, they are different in nature. I think personally it's a marketing gimmick.
Okay.
Yes, 80% of women wear men fragrances. Rose was considered to be very masculine.
Oh.
Tobacco is considered to be a very
Right.
manly thing.
Right.
But trust me, you do your analysis, a lot of tobacco fragrances, a lot of dark fragrances are used mostly by women. Don't judge the perfume with the first spray to begin with.
Okay.
Fragrance should smell good, compliments चाहिए और पूरा दिन last करना चाहिए. I think this is a very wrong way, to look at a perfume. Because of our climate, we recommend at least 6 sprays. 6 to 8. One more hack is when you spray behind the collar, you yourself are enjoying the fragrance. A good perfume is like fine wine.
Hi all, welcome to the Strategic Pulse. I'm your host Sudarshan Praveen. Have you ever been curious about how the perfume industry works? If yes, then stay tuned and watch this entire episode as we have Saahil, who's the founder of Perfa Fragrance, as our podcast guest. I personally use his perfumes and it's one of the best perfumes I've ever used. In this episode, we will discuss and deep dive about what goes behind the scenes in making a perfume, how to apply the perfume the right way, how to ensure which is a good perfume, which is a bad perfume, which perfume to use in which conditions, what are the costing in making a perfume, what are the margins in making a perfume, how is it different from luxury brands, and a lot more. Stay tuned and watch the entire episode. Thank you. So hi Sahil, welcome to the Strategic Pulse. For all of our viewers who are meeting you for the first time, can you briefly introduce yourself and your background?
So, hi Sudarshan. Firstly, thanks for having me. I am Saahil Somjee and I am the founder of Perfa Fragrances. A little about me is I'm a sports enthusiast and I run the show at Perfa Fragrances. How did I get into the perfume category? Basically, it's been about 3.5 odd years since we are running this perfume brand, and I'm very passionate about perfumes. From a very young age, I've been collecting perfume bottles with my pocket money, and I just love fragrances because I'm born and brought up in Oman, so you know how the Gulf is with perfumery or.
Right.
The importance of applying a good fragrance.
Right.
So that, subconsciously or intentionally, it was quite embedded in us that fragrances are, a very vital point in your lifestyle, I would say.
Right.
So that's how I got into, perfumes, my interest and passion for perfumes.
For someone new to the fragrance industry, how does this industry actually work?
Now, how does the perfume industry actually work? There are luxury brands,
Okay,
as you know.
Mm-hmm.
They basically hire big fragrance houses.
Okay.
Now, what do fragrance houses do? Fragrance houses have very skilled perfumers. Basically, the nose behind any fragrance creation is made by these big perfume houses.
Okay.
There are a few big names and there are fewer good perfumers. They aren't with that kind of skill and craftsmanship. I would say that there are a very few who have made it that big. Many luxury brands have that one particular name associated, like he or she is the nose behind this fragrance. Now what happens then is that once this creation of the fragrance, so the brand basically gives them their needs. We want to launch, this will be the brand placement. We want to launch and this may not be in the case of only luxury brands. Even local perfume houses, they go to perfumers and they give them their need. This is going to be the brand positioning. It's going to be a luxurious product or a niche product. or a mass product. According to that, the formulation is created
Okay.
by the perfumer.
Okay.
Now, these perfume houses license it or sell the formula to these luxury brands.
Okay.
What happens then is that these fragrances come into the market. They're sold in the market. Either the perfumer themselves sell it in the market, the formulation, or it enters the market, and which is these oils are available for in the wholesale market for purchase.
Okay.
Now, something which has gained that kind of traction, the fragrances, even luxury brands, this is a fact, and this is something the luxury brands don't want you to know. Very, very, very few make the fragrance from scratch. And this is the process I just explained to you. Very few do that.
Okay.
Most of them modify or tweak and create their versions of the same fragrance. How many times you must have heard that this luxury brand is very similar to this luxury brand.
Right, right.
So this is what's happening here.
Okay.
And that's how the others take forward the fragrance game into the market. And the luxury brands, basically, once the formulation is created, then they bottle, they market, you have celebrity endorsements, and they, that's how the product is launched in the market.
So what exactly goes into making a perfume, like oils, what ingredients, what is the process like?
So it's a very simple formulation.
Okay.
Basically, a perfume comprises of oil.
Okay.
I'm talking about perfumes. I'm not talking about ittar
Right.
or attar.
Right.
A perfume comprises of the oil itself, which is the most important thing. Then you have alcohol.
Okay.
Of course, we don't use alcohol. We use a higher grade of that, ingredient. And then you have some fixatives, which certain brands use, certain don't. And then that's about it. A good perfume consists of, as I mentioned, the perfume oil and the solvents. In short, of course, there's a lot of technicality which goes into making a perfume, and of course, then you have your branding, your bottle, your caps, your atomizers. In the sprays, atomizers are basically sprays.
Okay.
In that also you have many qualities, or
Okay.
rather variants, you would say. You have 80 mcl sprays, you have 120 mcl sprays. Then of course, then you have the cap, and basically this is all to do with the packaging. But
Okay.
the perfume comprises of perfumery oils and alcohol and some fixatives which are synthetic in nature.
Okay. So, like you mentioned earlier, you got into this business 3.5 years back.
Yeah.
So, can you briefly share how you got into this business and exactly what does your business in the perfume industry exactly do?
Okay. So basically, as I mentioned, that originally we are from the beauty category. We own a store which is about 16. We would complete 17 years now. So we've always been in the beauty category. Now, as I mentioned earlier also, I'm born and brought up in Oman. So the story goes that my mum has been very, enterprising from the very beginning.
Okay.
Back in the days, she was also very passionate about fragrances. So she used to make candles, that led to perfume making, but on a very basic level, and nothing in exchange for money, or only passion. She used to make, distribute, within family, friends, and so that's what it was. It was just for passion, But then one thing led to the other, and mum used to do this as a hobby back then, and that continued for a good 30 years. Now it's been 30 years that in the background. She's always trying to make something new. She's done a lot of things,
Wow.
Even this beauty category is because of her. Because back in the days, visas in the Gulf were family visas,
Right.
were not very easily, given to the family. So my mum came on her own work visa. So she worked for Chambord
Okay.
back then. So that was her entry level to this
Okay.
whole, luxury brands and makeup and beauty. So anyway, and COVID was a very difficult phase, not business-wise. Business-wise, monetary-wise, it hit the whole world. Okay?
Yeah.
But we lost a lot of people in our family. To get her mind off, businesses also were shut. We were idle, sitting at homes. We were all locked
Right.
up. So she kind of keep her mind occupied, she started perfume making again. And one thing led to the other, and then things started opening up again. And I didn't even know she's doing this at home again. She told me,
Okay.
Saahil, that I have started this again. Imagine, she's asking me, can I keep at the store? Because she was so, she thought that, something like this will not sell at the store.
Huh.
I was like, Mom, I kind of gave it a laugh. I was like, Mom, now you relax. You've just come out of, such a thing. You just relax, just chill now. You
Yeah.
don't have to struggle and make perfumes or make candles or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, chalo, you're doing it as a hobby. You can start this again.
Yeah.
And then she insisted that it's our store. We have a certain customer base. At least keep at the store.
Right.
So she made 2 fragrances. And I was like, Mom, what are you doing? Very raw bottles, she made like a batch of maybe 12 or 24 bottles, 2 fragrances, only 2 fragrances, all different sizes, different. And somehow she got the product together and she just placed it at the store. And then we have a retail store for 16 years. So a few customers said, my mom has made, why did you just try and take it?
Right.
And they bought it. They bought it because they know mom very well. They bought it. Bought it, fine. Then they started coming back. Then their friends started coming back. And then slowly they said, okay, why don't you make this fragrance for us? Why don't you make this fragrance for us? That's how it began. I'm from Pune. In Pune, that's how it began. But a similar story back when I was a kid also, same things used to happen. She used to buy the fragrance oil and she used to give it her modifications. And then, so even back then also, as a matter of fact, the royal family once asked that who's made this perfume.
Wow.
It came to that level. But then she just made it and just didn't pursue that further. Anyway, so then at the store, then I was like, this is gaining some traction. But I still was on the back foot. I was like, okay, I was like, Mom, you know what? So-and-so asked for your bottle and she was very happy. Then they're like, can you make this fragrance for us? Can you make a floral fragrance for us? Can you make this? So then slowly 2 became 3, 3 became 4. And then I started seeing a clear, path that there is a demand, surely.
Yeah.
Then I sat down without my mum or my dad's knowledge. I started creating the name for the brand.
Okay.
I, as a, thing, I was like, chal, let me just give it a shot.
Right.
Let's not sell it this way, so raw. Let's have a label.
Right.
Let's make it a little more fancy.
Right.
And that's how things, progressed. We started with 2 fragrances and today we are at roughly 66 to 70 odd fragrances.
Wow.
In the span of 3.5 years.
Wow.
So that's the beginning.
So you mentioned your mother started this and then you got traction, you created a brand out of this. So what kind of perfumes do you all make?
So basically we are a perfume house and in India, and we usually most of our fragrances are inspired fragrances.
Okay.
Basically we come into play when you can't afford those luxury fragrances. So we kind of give you the same experience in our fragrances, of course with a few modifications to it, and at a very affordable price. But longevity or the experience or the transition, is we give you that sort of an experience what the luxury brands give you. So that's where we come into play, wherein we give you inspired fragrances for the luxury houses, perfume houses.
And does this have any legal issues, and is it different from any like people say this is first copy, this is stuff like that? So can you elaborate on that?
So basically, see, fake or duplicate is when you replicate the same fragrance in the same bottle, right?
Okay.
So let's say this is an iPhone fake. This is an iPhone replica, but it's an iPhone with a different software inside, or like AirPods or watch or any product. Let's say you buy a Gucci T-shirt and then you in the market on the road you're getting a Gucci. That's a fake.
Okay.
Or can have legal issues. But the fragrance itself cannot be copyrighted. It cannot. Copyrighted is the brand and the exact formula. That's all which can be copyrighted.
Okay.
That's why, because fragrance, now for instance, I'll give you an example. Okay. Both perfumers have made a version of a floral fragrance or a citrus fragrance. Both are citrus in nature, but nobody can say that this is my copyright. You can't, copyright a citrus fragrance. You can't copyright a aquatic fragrance.
Okay.
You can't copyright a oud fragrance. This is a very generic thing, ingredients wise or notes wise.
Right.
So that's what it is.
So there is. So when you say inspired perfumes, you take inspiration
we take inspiration from
luxury.
Take inspiration. So that is the vision. Okay, that is something to fall upon. I take inspiration, or rather, we take inspiration from this complete product or this complete fragrance, and we try to match the fragrance or modify it and give our best version, what we can, for our consumers. Now, I'll give you another example. Any luxury brand makes a fragrance. Now, we try to take inspiration from it. We try to mimic it. We try to modify it and add our elements or compounds to it. Okay?
Right.
Even if I were to make the exact same fragrance, perfume making is very complex.
Right.
A same fragrance can be achieved by a combination of a completely different set of accords and compounds or notes, and the same thing can be achieved by a completely different set. So how can you copyright this? Because this is my version. I have, made my version of it. So thus, as I told you, yes, fake, duplicate or legality comes only when you copy the exact same formula or the bottling or the branding, etc. So that's how it is.
So like you mentioned, accord, notes, etc. Can you just elaborate on all this?
So basically, in short, a combination of accords.
What is accord?
Accords basically are elements or compounds which create a note. Now, for example, top notes are floral in nature or citrus in nature. But what are the accords used? Is it Turkish rose? Is it gulab, so to say? Or is it bergamot? Now, let's say for citrus. In citrus, you have so many forms of citrus. You have lime, you have bergamot, so on and so forth.
Right.
In oud, you have sandalwood. You have, wood, I meant, sorry, not oud, but a woody fragrance comprises of sandalwood. It comprises of oud. There are many variants of wood which contribute to a woody fragrance.
Right.
So accords sum up to making notes. So that's how it is.
And for all of them, oils are available, like you mentioned.
Yes. So there are perfume oils available. And these perfume oils are basically, there's a huge library in the world, in the market. So these are oils, perfume oils we source, or rather any perfume house sources. And this comprises of the notes or the accords. Of course, a good perfume house will make some sort of additions to those fragrance oils.
Okay.
But there are different methods to make that fragrance oil even better.
Okay.
As per their brand needs, So that's how it is.
And you mentioned there are various types of profiles, like in terms of it being woody, it being citrus. So what are the various types, and what do Indian consumers generally prefer?
So there are various sorts of, profiles, or you would say notes. You have aqua based, you have floral, you have citrus, you have fresh, you have spicy, you have amber oriental fragrances. Then you have, which is very famous in the Middle Eastern regions, you have oud, you have woody, you have tobacco based fragrances. So the sky is the limit.
Endless.
Yes,
Okay.
it's endless.
Do Indian consumers prefer any specific type?
So Indian consumers, what I would say is that yes, earlier, of course they prefer fresh because of our climate. Our climate is quite extreme in nature, so we have a lot of humidity. So most preferred fragrances amongst the Indian consumers would be fresh, aromatic.
Okay.
For women, it'll be floral. To a certain extent, for women, it'll be a gourmet fragrance. But the shift, what I'm noticing with a lot of exposure to the perfume world, people are now even switching to spicy fragrances. What I mean by spicy are fragrances, I would something like an aftershave. Like they're spicy fragrances usually are tagged with as barbershop fragrances. Okay, so now that trend we are seeing, because all the luxury houses, they have fresh, aromatic, floral, all that is there, but there's a lot of focus towards oudi fragrances or woody fragrances, spicy fragrances. But yes, as a whole, the Indian consumer still fresh, floral, aqua based fragrances, probably a little more subtle in nature, is what's preferred by the Indian consumer because of our
weather
conditions. Yes.
And how different are men, women, and unisex perfumes?
It's ironic. Men, women, unisex fragrances, yes, they are different in nature. I think personally it's a marketing gimmick.
Okay.
Yes. Of course, preference, men prefer, as I mentioned, strong fragrances, a lot of marine fragrances, a lot of citrus fragrances. Women, on the other hand, prefer floral fragrances, gourmet fragrances. And then, but, I personally feel, or rather in my experience, you won't believe it or not, there, 80% of women wear men fragrances.
Oh.
And all the women out there, whoever, and when I share this experience to the consumer, 90% agree with me. I'm talking about women. And I have a few men customers also who use women fragrances. So I personally would say that there is no gender in fragrances.
Okay.
This is more of a marketing thing. As I tell you, of course, your preference remains your preference. But, when there are millions of perfume houses.
Right.
So probably I personally feel men, yes, category men, women, unisex is there, is to probably simplify, your
Choices?
your choices, your purchasing behavior, because there are so many options, there are so many brands. Now I myself have 70 odd fragrances.
Right.
So if you categorize them,
Yeah.
then it becomes easy. I don't know if you know this, but back in the days, in Europe, rose was considered to be very masculine.
Oh,
So are you getting from? So
Yeah.
it's a marketing shift,
okay.
and of course it's a one-on-one, choice or preference every consumer has. But as I told you, women use men fragrances. I have many men who use women fragrances, and then of course unisex is unisex.
So, how do they categorize a perfume to be unisex? And do you see a shift in people opting for unisex perfumes?
Yes, a lot. As I told you, unisex fragrances are very neutral.
Okay.
As I mentioned, that this division of men, women, and then unisex is according to what the current generation or generations have been preferring to. But unisex, in my opinion, because what I see mostly are Udi fragrances.
Okay.
Because let's say, in the Middle East, everyone's wearing an Udi fragrance. Everyone's men, women, all are wearing Bakhur. You know what I mean? That
Yeah.
sort of a fragrance.
Right.
So that's a unisex fragrance. So that trend is now pushing its way to Europe, already has pushed its way to Europe, but even towards India. Spicy, again, is not men, not women. And now even a lot of tobacco-based fragrances. You'll be astonished. Tobacco is considered to be a very
Right.
manly thing.
Right.
But trust me, you do your analysis, a lot of tobacco fragrances or a lot of dark fragrances are used mostly by women. I'm
Oh.
talking about in Europe.
Right.
French, they all love to use dark fragrances. So these are unisex fragrances, which are very neutral,
Okay.
not floral in nature, not too subtle in nature, because that's probably what the women prefer. Men prefer, as I mentioned, they like citrus, they like something very spicy or something of that sort, very aqua-based fragrances. So that's what men prefer. So it's all preference.
Okay.
That's what I believe.
Okay. And we were speaking about how the weather affects our perfume choices. So, can you elaborate on how the skin type, our lifestyle, the weather conditions affect our perfume choices?
Yeah, sure. So, see, preferences gender-wise I've given you.
Right.
But see, I'm sure peak summers or peak in Bombay, you know how humid it is. You
Yeah.
don't want to be roaming with oud fragrance or a leathery fragrance or something which is very dark, which adds to your misery. Okay? Of course, again, it's very subjective. If you ask me, I really don't care. I love dark fragrances.
Okay.
But usually, on a hot sunny day or a humid day, you would prefer something which makes you feel fresh, right?
Right.
So then you associate that choice with citrus fragrance or aqua-based fragrance or something subtle. People run behind longevity, but I think I prefer, what I would say, that you don't go behind longevity, at least during peak summers, because then you ought to put a darker fragrance. So then women opt for something very subtle, maybe something sweet, which will last you during the day also, but it does not add to the heat, to the discomfort. Likewise, winters is the exact opposite.
Okay.
Winters, people prefer, it's so, it's already very cool. So then people prefer, they get their dark fragrances out. They get their spicy fragrances out. They go with, all the fragrances which are dark in nature.
Okay.
So yes, climate does play an active role in the choices perfume consumers make on a daily basis. Coming to your second point about how does the skin add to yes, skin does play a vital role. As I was mentioning earlier, before we could start this podcast, that men's skin is thicker in nature as compared to women. Then men's skin is a little more oily again as compared to women. Yes, small observations I have noticed, So oil being on your skin, kinds of adds to the longevity.
Okay.
Then let's say, I'll give you another example. Let's say if a laborer is, working in on the road or wherever, he applies the same perfume. And let's say you have an office job, you have an air-conditioned environment. Fragrance will perform, and last completely different, for the two of you all. Because the body chemistry, body heat, sweat, these are active things which, I make or break the fragrance.
Okay.
So it will smell slightly different on you. It will smell slightly different on me. It will smell slightly different on a third person.
Okay.
Because of their lifestyle, their environment, their body chemistry, the heat. The body also, you must have heard this, or rather, that every skin type has a fragrance, right? We all, there's some sort of a peculiar smell our skin has as compared to, let's say, your spouse or your brother or your sibling. I mean, I'm talking about family.
Right.
But there is a peculiar, so that adds to the performance or how you may smell, with a perfume being added on your skin. So yes, surely these are, active things which, yes, do make a difference in how a perfume smells on one and the other.
So having this information, how should one choose the best perfume which suits them for a long period of time? Because there are, like you mentioned earlier, there are so many perfumes in the market, and people who are not aware of what is their skin type or which perfume suits them and which should be used for winter, summers, morning, evening, occasions, daily wear. So there's so much confusion. So is there a way we can simplify this?
See, as I told you, in simple words, I would say don't buy a perfume to begin with from the moment you spray it. That's my advice I can give the viewers. Don't judge the perfume with the first spray to begin with. Okay. Because a good perfume is not the first note. A good perfume is that the transition from the top notes to the mid notes, to the heart notes, to the base notes. That transition, that it should be smooth. Okay. So don't pick your perfume on the basis of your first spray. The other pointers I have given you, that morning, evening, this is a choice. This is a choice. You can, I want to spray this today, you spray it. If it's humid, then you spray a fresh fragrance. If it's winters, you spray a darker fragrance. But these are only suggestions a perfume house can give you. But ultimately, something which makes you feel confident or something which makes you comfortable, do that. Don't go by what even a perfume house is telling you, or don't go by what an influencer is telling you. Secondly, I was saying don't go by the first, because the transition is very important. That is one I would recommend. Secondly, this is very common within the Indian consumer. मेरे को सिर्फ longevity चाहिए. As I mentioned, पहला fragrance should smell good, compliments चाहिए और पूरा दिन last करना चाहिए. I think this is a very wrong way to look at a perfume. So don't do that. if yes, you want longevity, then you go for darker fragrances. But what's the point if you are not enjoying the fragrance? Now,
Exactly.
for instance, I'll give you, my wife herself, or my dad, as a matter of fact, they like subtle fragrances. There are so many times I'm spraying the perfume literally when I'm exiting the door. Now, if they were to run behind longevity, they would, probably spray something which is darker in nature, as I mentioned, or something woody in nature, or something which is woody in nature. If they themselves are not enjoying the fragrance, but आप वो longevity के पीछे भागने की वजह से you are, not enjoying the fragrance. Spray the bottle, choose your perfume for yourself first. That's what I would say. Don't run behind lasting longevity. So yeah, you should be enjoying the perfume to begin with.
So this comes only through trial and error. You have to try
Trial and error, of course. You can take suggestions. You know what's trending in the market. Go try them. But yes, don't make your don't purchase your perfume on the first impression. Give it a try a few more. After the dry down, give it a good 20-25 minutes, because that's when the actual perfume hits in.
Okay.
Because let's say a perfume gives you a longevity of 2 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours. Perfume is not going to be the same from the get-go.
Correct.
That transition, the smell, what you enjoy in a perfume is the latter half.
Oh.
Right? Clearly.
Right. Yeah.
What stays on, not stays on, but that is what you're enjoying. The top notes literally start vanishing in the first 15-20 minutes, and the transition is very important. You should not, ऐसा भी नहीं होना चाहिए कि चलो I sprayed citrus and then suddenly you've gone to a different note. That transition has to be there. It should feel like a single product, not 3 different products in one bottle. So that's how it is.
What's the right way to apply a perfume? Because a lot of people ask this question and it's not answered very clearly yet.
See, there again, it's a personal choice. Now, if you were to ask this question on YouTube, you'll be astonished and you'll be shocked. People apply their perfumes on their hair. Okay, we've not even reached the skin or the. Some people apply fragrances on their skin. Some people apply only on their apparel. But people apply perfumes on their hair. You must have. This is a category which is also there.
Oh, I'm not aware.
Yeah. There are perfumes for hair specifically.
Okay.
But forget, that's a different category. But yes, people apply perfumes on their hair. People apply perfumes on their beards. Okay. That's what gave you must have heard of perfume oils for the hair. So these are categories which are live parallelly to perfumes. But yes, people apply perfumes on their hair as well. And then people apply perfumes on their pulse points, on their skin, on their apparel. So my point being that if you were to search this on YouTube, you will go berserk with the amount of sprays people are actually putting. And then you have a category which do not put perfumes at all.
Correct.
I would say that personally, we recommend as a brand house, because of our climate, we recommend at least 6 sprays. 6 to 8. There's no limit. There's no perfect answer. But yes, pulse points, your wrist, behind. Now I have pulse points are here, but very common mistake what consumers do is, you must have seen this, and I'm sure even you're doing the same. You apply the perfume and you rub.
Correct.
That's where you break the first note.
Oh.
That alters with some sort of, the perfume.
Okay.
So rather just apply and let it dry naturally. Then your pulse points are next to the neck areas. What I would recommend is behind the ears.
Okay.
Behind the collar. If you're applying perfumes on your clothes, then behind the collar is a superb hack.
Okay.
Because see, when you sweat, of course you're sweating, it's mostly the armpits,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
but something behind the collar, likelihood is that that area is less affected, your collars. One more hack is when you spray behind the collar, you yourself are enjoying the fragrance because it is so close to your,
Nose.
you know, the canals of your nose, because and it is your clothes. So, and one more hack I would suggest is keep your skin moisturized.
Okay.
I'm sure everyone knows this,
Hmm.
with an unscented fragrance or a very light fragrance.
Hmm.
So that is something you can, do to probably, I wouldn't say longevity wise, but yes, performance wise, you will enjoy your fragrance more than what it usually is.
But if say people put it to their pulse point, it's understandable. But if they put it around their face or behind their, won't it affect their skin? And because it contains alcohol as well.
Right. So yeah. So basically, see, again, in my opinion, जब तक perfume skin को छुए नहीं, that feel of applying a perfume you don't get.
Okay.
I'm sure even you are regular users. I know you use a lot of perfumes. So that's what my opinion is. That yes, I do apply sprays on my clothes, but till it does not reach or touch my skin, I don't get that feel that I've applied a perfume. Now, recently I read a study that you should avoid applying perfumes on your skin. Because as you said, they're chemicals. But I'm not talking about my perfume house because we use very safe ingredients. But let that be aside. Let's talk about perfumes. We don't know what ingredients they're using.
Right.
So yes, it may hamper your skin. But a latest study says that you usually apply perfumes on your neck, right? But do you realize that these are the thyroid glands? You have your thyroid glands here, and some over extensive use somewhere, and thyroid glands are, play a very vital role on your hormones.
Yeah.
So what if they, affect this?
Right.
So there are various studies, but then as I told you that yes, it's a very personal choice. So coming to your thing, that will it affect your skin? Yes, if perfumes with bad ingredients, cheap alcohol can surely stain, but to an extent staining your clothes or staining where you applied the perfume, or some sort of a skin irritation, itching, such things can happen if you're using a cheap, perfume with cheap ingredients. Surely it can happen.
So, but how would a consumer identify this? Ki it's a cheap.
Only on application, because this till you apply, there is no.
So it's a risk they have to take.
Yeah, you have to see the credibility of the brand, and then make your choice. So surely, you'll have to try that for yourself.
Okay. And also in the market, right, there are different perfumes called EDT, EDP, Perform. So you can just elaborate on all this and how are they different?
Sure. So what you mentioned just now are perfume categories. You have EDC, which are the colognes. Then you have EDT, which are eau de toilette. Then you have EDP, which are higher in nature. And now something what we are also, our category also comes in extract de parfum. Okay. Now the colognes are the weakest.
Okay.
And the extract de parfum are the strongest. The colognes have the oil concentration ranging from 0 to 5%. These are the aftershaves you use. Okay. Then you have EDTs, the oil, which are majority of EDTs and EDPs are the majority of the European markets are in this category, EDT or EDP. So EDT, the oil concentrations ranging from 5 to 10, 15%, not more than that, because of their climate. Europe is very cold, so you don't need that sort of a strong, composition in strength. Then you have EDP, which is slightly stronger, ranging from 20 to 25%, and extract de perfume is 25 to 30%. So we, as a perfume house, we follow a 25% oil concentration level in our perfumes, which I personally feel is more than enough. Okay, some perfume houses claim 40%. I don't buy that, or if they do, then it's not required. A good 25% oil concentration is more than enough, even for the Indian consumer. So these are categories of perfumes in terms of strength. That in terms of oil concentration.
So higher the oil concentration, stronger the perfume?
Not always.
Okay.
Not always. I'll give you an example. Even if I were to use 25%, this is the standard process we follow, 25% oil concentration in our perfumes. But a floral fragrance will still last you not more than 5 hours. आप वो 25 का 30 कर दो, 30 का 40 कर दो, या pure oil डाल दो. Okay, of course it will increase slightly, but not more than that, because how do I put it? वो fragrance या वो note की तासीर, it has a limitation. You have reached its peak. The note or the accord or the compounds or the fragrance, to put it in simple words, cannot go beyond that level. Whereas an oud, okay, can even a 10% will overpower a 25% floral fragrance. So it is right also, but not entirely right. That's what I mean.
So how should a consumer decide whether they should go for EDT, EDP or extract their perfume? Like, because if increase in oil concentration doesn't make it more strong, then like on what?
No, it does. It does.
To a certain extent.
Yes, it does make the strength or the performance or the sillage it does perform better. There is no doubt, because perfume oil is the engine.
Okay.
Perfume oil is, everything depends, majorly on the perfume oil you are sourcing or using, or whatever you may call it. So it does make a big difference in the oil concentration. But when I said not necessarily, like a consumer cannot have this in his mind that I'm buying extract de perfume, so iski longevity 12 घंटा या 1 दिन चलेगा. That's not always the case, because your choice or your preference is not at that level. You want performance, you want something which lasts that long, you want the fragrance to last that long. You have to opt for that category of a fragrance. Like as I mentioned, something tobacco based, or something very dark, something very spicy, something probably for women, something sweet. So that's what I mean. And how do I decide? Again, it's you're staying in the extract de perfume has really gained a lot of momentum.
Okay.
For the simple reason, as I mentioned, a lot of momentum. Earlier, till date, you pick any luxury brand, they're all EDTs. Any duty free, pick up the bottle,
Correct.
It'll be EDT.
Yeah.
Because of their climate.
Right.
But in India, this is gaining a lot of momentum. Even luxury brands, even perfume houses are making in Europe now perfumes. They just call it perfumes, or they're making those versions also, because there's a lot of demand because people are seeing the difference in both of the categories. So
but for Indian weathers, perfume,
I would recommend extract the perfume, because yes, it gives you a lot of performance. As I told you, extract the perfume, just because it is extract the perfume, that does not mean it'll give you a headache. That's not what I mean.
That actually was one of my next questions.
So if that's your question, yes, it's not, even extract the perfume can be made in a subtle category. The fragrance can be quite subtle, like women fragrances are subtle. So even extract the perfume can be, but yes, if you use this category of perfume making or perfume, then of course the performance, it does make a lot of difference in performance as compared to EDTs, surely. About headaches, you were asking.
Yeah.
I think this is a very, very common question. Rather, I wouldn't say question, but a new consumer tells me, "अरे headache नहीं होना चाहिए, headache नहीं होना चाहिए."
Yeah.
You know, people literally refrain from even applying perfumes because of the headache.
Exactly. Yeah.
The answer lies in healthy and good ingredients. If you're sourcing the right oils, which are made of the right ingredients, basically balancing is a very vital step, I would say.
Okay.
Because only khali a good oil, if I give you a good oil, let's say you come to my where our perfumes are made, if I just give you the oil and you're like, oh, I've got the oil, let me just add alcohol, you cannot make a perfume. You can make a perfume to your capability, but skill somewhere, you need to have that kind of experience or skill to make that perfume, as I told you, very balanced. Using the right ingredients, the right formulations, the right fixatives. Now these fixatives or perfume fixers, in simple language you may call it, they're synthetic. Most perfume houses, as I told you, but that's not, वो perfume house का गलती नहीं है, demand ऐसा है, longevity, lasting, or just by putting perfume fixers. What are perfume fixers? Perfume fixers are something which locks the compounds together. It locks it. Because when the perfume is made, there's a lot of chemical, reactions happening within the bottle. So that perfume fixers helps in longevity. It locks the fragrance. It standardizes the fragrance made by the perfumer. Putting bottle, drops and drops. I don't know what ml. So that causes headaches. A lot of consumers tell me, अरे यार शुरुआत में तो परफ्यूम अच्छा था, but then I get this headaches and a very alcohol fragrance है ही नहीं, खाली alcohol का smell आ रहा है. So this is all, using good ingredients, your sourcing is very important.
Okay.
So that's how.
And do perfumes have an expiry?
Technically, yes.
Okay.
They may have an expiry, but I would put it, I would put a good perfume is like fine wine. The more you keep it, now, I'm sure as a child, I still have my perfumes lying with me when I was in school because I'm a collector.
Okay.
I still have those perfumes that they're performing the same. No change. Of course, they change over a period of time. They may change slightly, but I would say they would expire or, stop performing in nature when, heat comes into play.
Okay.
Heat is the worst enemy of any perfume.
Okay.
Any perfume. If heat were to hit the perfume directly, it oxidizes the perfume, or UV rays, or so just keep your perfume in a cool environment.
Okay.
In a nice environment. People usually tend to keep their perfumes on their dressing table. Your dressing tables are usually placed next to the windows, unless your AC is on. But not only heat, but even the direct UV rays also, yes, alter the compounds and the molecules of the fragrance, the formula. Yes, it does. So how, I'm assuming you are going to ask me, how do you recognize how a perfume has gone bad? It's very simple. If you can see the oil, the perfume changing color to a certain extent, it's fine. That's very natural. Over a period of time, perfumes tend to change. That is because, as I told, over a period of time, oxidization is happening. So that's perfectly fine. Till your fragrance smells the same, it's giving you that same performance, or the opening notes are the same, there is no issue whatsoever. But the moment they start smelling differently, the moment they have more than the perfume, they have this alcohol hit to you, that's when the perfume has gone bad.
So usually what I've seen with perfume brands, they usually put 2 years of expiry. for their perfume?
That is more of a legal thing
Okay.
than the actual, because of legalities.
Okay.
I think that is because you ought to put an expiry on a perfume, but I'm using perfumes since school and they are perfectly fine. And any perfumer, if you were to ask this, and I'm sure they will give the same response, legality and policies compel a brand to put an expiry. And the reason, and that's not wrong, of course, you ought to put that. Why? Because in 3 years, even if it were to be exposed, let's say to these factors, they can still retain their shelf life. But because I'm assuming, the authorities don't know how the consumer is going to be using this bottle. As a safety thing, 3 years or 2 years is the shelf life they mention.
Okay.
But if you have if the oxidation is in a very controlled way, then there is no problem whatsoever.
And you mentioned earlier that a lot of synthetics are used in perfume. So are natural perfumes better than synthetic ones?
No, not at all. Now, what are natural perfumes? First, we need to understand. Natural perfumes are, it's in the word, natural perfumes are derived from natural ingredients. Let's say a lot of rose, a lot of flowers. Heaps and heaps and heaps of flour will give you probably 20 ml of oil. It's not cost effective. And I mean, there's a lot of wastage, right? So those are, if you were to make a perfume from natural ingredients, first of all, you're very limited. I'll give you an example. Can you derive, and the Indian consumer asks me this a lot, give me, do you have a fragrance called something which reminds you of first rain? Can you derive this rain or naturally? You can't, right? You may also, I mean, I'm not an expert, but this is what my mind says. You can't derive that experience naturally. Yes, floral you can derive. Many other, fragrances you can derive. So there's a lot of wastage. It is not cost effective. Fragrances are limited for the point I just said. There are certain fragrances you cannot extract naturally. You just cannot. So what happens is fragrances are created in the labs. So those are called synthetics.
Okay.
Synthetics does not mean that the longevity will be poor, or they perform less, or they're harmful. That's a completely wrong notion.
Okay.
90%, according to what I think, this is what I feel, 90 to 95% brands, including luxury brands, are using synthetics.
Okay.
So there's nothing wrong in it there, because it's a very standardized process. You're making, of course, from which lab or are you gathering, or rather sourcing your oils? That's a different, that tells you how good, poor quality or higher quality, that's a different thing altogether. But synthetics are very, very safe because they're standardized, they're controlled, they're engineered to perform the best. You have a lot of checkpoints, a lot of approvals, a lot of certifications. So, and then sky is the limit, because you can derive any sort of a note via synthetics, which are used in the lab, which are used by most of the perfume houses. That's how it is. So natural perfumes, yes, I think that's a very old school way. Old means really old, okay, where people used to use gulab and stuff like that. But currently I really don't see that anywhere. It's everywhere it is synthetics which is being used.
Okay. So a lot of our viewers, right, consist of aspiring entrepreneurs, and like you mentioned earlier, sourcing of raw materials holds of key importance.
Yes, absolutely.
So can you share how can they ensure that they source the raw materials the right way?
See, sourcing, as I told you, is the most important and the most vital point. Now, obviously, from day one, you will not, get to the right source or the best source. It does not happen overnight. So there was a perfume house, who had asked me this question that what should be the pointers, or how do I know that this is a good perfume or I have made a good perfume. So I told him that, see, source, now at this level you will get many options from the lowest to the highest. I think you make that 1 or 2 perfumes, what we did, try to make the best versions of it. What do I mean by that? आपको यहाँ से भी oil source किया, आपने यहाँ से भी, as and how you make the same perfume with different oil concentrations or different raw materials, automatically you will understand that भाई इसमें बात अलग है. Common things like bad ingredients, as I told you, they age or they leave. Staining, personally, I feel, of course, apart from performance, transition into the different notes, you won't believe, there are certain fragrances which start at the first note and drops immediately. वो आगे बढ़ता ही नहीं है. Now, is it because the perfume is such? वो भी होता है. वैसा भी, that is also reality, that there's only one note. But sometimes the oil or the performance or the way the perfume is made, it just drops. It cannot take the perfume ahead, the experience, or the throw ahead. So transition from A, B to C or further has to be very smooth. That's how you judge a good quality ingredient. Secondly, I personally feel they should not stain your clothes. Of course, there's a way of going back to your question, how do I apply perfumes? They should not fall flat after the first note. The transition has to be smooth. And of course, an oil is nothing, a car is nothing without fuel. The fuel is the alcohol. In our case, we use perfumery solvents. So that you have industrial alcohol, you have alcohol, there are many grades, and then you have something what we use, perfumery solvents. This is a blend specially curated for perfume making. Though you can make perfume from normal alcohol also, industrial alcohol, but that's a low grade ingredient. There is something even higher, but we use perfumery solvents. So use good ingredients and the perfume, and you will know आप परफ्यूम अल्कोहल से बनाएंगे या चीप इंग्रेडिएंट से बनाएंगे, और ये सेम चीज़ आप गुड इंग्रेडिएंट से बनाएंगे. गुड players in the market, reputed players in the market, buy the oils from there, you will know the difference.
Okay. So let's come to costing actually. How much does it really cost to make a perfume?
See, I would rather put it in such a way that, as I mentioned, luxury brands is the other way around. They spend, of course, there's no doubt they use quality ingredients. A perfume a perfume won't make it big. But because their price bracket is so high, the oil itself may cost not more than 10 to 20%. On the other hand, perfume houses like mine, we focus majority on the oil, the finished perfume itself. So I would say a good 50 to 60% goes in making a finished product perfume. Not a finished product, but the perfume itself, the juice inside. And the rest you have, I think 10% goes in the bottling, and then logistics you have, so that's how you can work your way to fill the gap. But a good 50-60% goes only in the actual extract, the perfume itself.
Okay, so somebody pricing their perfume, say of 1,000 rupees, would spend approximately 500 to 600 rupees just to make it.
Absolutely.
Another 100 rupees would be in terms of packaging.
A little more in packaging.
Okay.
A little more. And then, of course, you have your shipping, marketing.
What kind of profit margins do luxury brands operate at, and what kind of profit margins do small and mid-sized based perfumer operate at?
Uh, Luxury brands, I mean, we all know, you know, there is no limit. 100 folds or easy, you know. We know a
Right.
luxury bag as compared to, we know the cost of making that bag. Of course, the same is, that's how the luxury brand works. The margins are very, very, very high because, as I mentioned, that those margins are, you know, put into advertisements, celebrity endorsements, so on and so forth. But small perfume houses probably, we play around a 20, 40% margin.
This is net profit or gross profit?
Gross profit. Net profit is slightly lesser.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have some rapid fire questions for you.
Okay.
One thing people overpay for in perfumes.
The brand. Surely the brand, and the packaging or the marketing.
One perfume mistake almost everyone makes.
I think one perfume mistake which everyone makes, certain mistakes are, people apply only on their pulse points, you know, and they will apply on their wrist, and with मतलब दो स्प्रे में ही ऐसा लगा के छोड़ दिए. The other mistake is, I think, overspraying. You don't want to, you know, overpower. You don't want to be like, you know, giving someone else an issue as well. So overspraying is also a mistake.
Most overrated perfume trend right now.
Do not run behind longevity. I've said this time and again. You know, do not run behind longevity. I know consumers who probably must have not used a deodorant till date, and their expectation is 12 hours, 18 hours for a perfume. So don't run behind longevity, run behind the fragrance, run behind the art, run behind the transition, run behind what the experience, the feel, you know. That's how you choose a perfume. And longevity, I think, yes, it's important, but I think that comes later.
Inspired perfumes, future or fad?
Inspired, surely the future, because it has gained a lot of traction. There's a lot of customer education towards this category. You know, somebody who cannot afford a luxurious brand does not mean that they cannot experience the same fragrance or the same experience. I'm putting it as simply as it can be put. That just because you don't have a good 20,000 or 25,000 or whatever the amount may be, you can still get the experience in a good budgeted brand. There is no doubt about it. So surely there inspired fragrances or good perfume houses are here to stay, surely.
How do you see the future of perfume industry in the next 5 to 10 years with AI coming in? So,
in the next 5 to 10 years, especially in India, is going to be booming. It's already booming. It has really taken leaps ahead of its time. I remember back in the day, Indian consumers used to use only deodorants for the longest time, perfumes, and okay, used to get like only when someone from abroad used to come, they used to not get perfumes. But now the trend has really taken, is gone ahead, because there's a lot of customer education. Consumers just don't use anything and everything. They are very specific in what they want. That is where I feel AI would probably, come in the future. Currently, layering is gaining a lot of momentum. What is layering? Layering is when you mix 2 or 3 fragrances together to make your own signature. So I feel AI probably, you're given what your preferences are, and that's when AI probably generates, for all you know, the finished oil for yourself or the finished perfume. That's what I feel. Probably this could be the future in terms of AI. But yes, the category and this industry is really really going. It's only to go ahead from here.
So thank you, Saahil, for taking the time and joining us. And for all our viewers, Saahil took a lot of trouble to come all the way from Pune to
Arey, please.
Mumbai for the shoot. So thank you so much.
I'm so happy. Thank you so much, Darshan, for having me at the Strategic Pulse. This is my first podcast, so it's been such a comfortable and a fruitful experience. And just thank you so much for having us and having me and our brand, and always supporting. You are supporting us by being a regular consumer.
Yeah.
But thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for watching this episode till the very end. If you found this episode to be valuable and insightful, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And let us know in the comment section below your takeaways from each of our episodes. Thank you.